What's up, folks? Star Wars Andor, Episode 6. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. This was the heist episode. It had action, it had excitement, it had slow burn stuff that finally culminated in hot, steaming woohoo! Spoiler alert moving forward because we're going to be covering all the things about Episode 6 in today's review. If you've never been here before, I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell, sometimes known as the Bearded Dwarven Princess from the Rings of Power world, and we're diving in to episode 6 of Star Wars Andor today. If you haven't already done so and you're new here, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you can continue to get updates on this show and beyond, because I review all sorts of Star Wars stuff, Star Trek, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones stuff, and we've got Willow coming up and a whole lot more. So hopefully you'll stick around. Also, if you want to support like all of these amazing people and keep my channel full time, wait till the end because I'll be talking about it there. In the meantime, let's dive in. Again, spoiler alert for everybody. Let me get into the show notes here. You've been duly warned, duly warned, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get in. So it's heist time. We knew the heist was coming. And this episode starts off with everyone sitting here sort of feeling the pre-heist jitters. They're sitting up in the frigid mountains. They can't sleep. There's this brilliant moment where I think the character's name is Nemec, the kid who's the philosopher kid who's writing his manifesto, and he's talking to Cassian about the use of mercenaries and how they are just tools, and if you view them in that light, it's all good, and he doesn't care where Cassian came from as long as he's here, and Cassian responds, the Empire doesn't even care enough to notice you. And the kid replies, "So you're saying we should just shut up and be thankful that they don't notice us, that they allow us to exist?" And Cassian leans in and menacingly and says, "Do I look like I'm thankful to you?" And it was just this brilliant moment of sort of defining that Cassian understands his place in the scheme of things. He hates the Empire with all his guts, but he also understands that it's a big machine, and if you just understand it, you can at least live your life. We then get a chance to meet sort of the off-world captain who has come here to oversee the event, the Eye, and we're meeting the local garrison commander for the first time, and they're talking about the holy site, and they're mocking the tribesmen and their belief systems and how they're easily manipulated, and how once there were 15,000 of them who would gather in this sacred valley to watch the event, but now there's only 60 of them. And the off-world captain says, "Do they know this is the last time they will be allowed up here?" And they're talking about that. And poor Gorn is in the background just seething because he has the local connections with the woman that he loved, and yeah, this is a good moment of just establishing sort of we are reiterating the vileness of the Empire and how they just view anything beneath them as backwards, man. And the rhetoric here, honestly. Yeah, well, it's very poignant given the political state of our world right now. Some very good political commentary here. Back to the team, they're prepping a comms unit, and this is important. I thought it was going to be important because even though it's a fleeting moment, so Cassian mentions the comm unit and says, "Well, that looks Imperial," and Skeen's like, "God, it's not anymore. Don't worry about it." And I literally have in my notes, "Is this going to be a problem later?" It is a problem later. I suspected it would be. They do it in a very passing manner, so it's really hard to catch unless you're just, on it. We'll come back to that in a bit, though. We start to see the first of the crystals falling through the sky as the local husbands are arriving, and it looks really cool, like a comet streaking across the sky as it's doing. And we see Cassian and his friends on the path acting as soldiers as the tribesmen come in. They're blending in, escorting the group up the trail. Vel and the other girl, whose name escapes me at the moment, Cinta, I think, are hunkered down under some rocks with soldiers nearby, but everybody starts getting distracted by the celestial event starting to happen as things streak across the sky. So visually and musically, we could feel the tension is building. This episode, I'm going to say this right now before I even get to the end of the episode. This was a 10 out of 10 episode for me. 10 out of 10. Everything worked. Everything came together. This is brilliant storytelling. We get this scene with the local commander who can't get his sash buckled, and he's like, "Hey, they never store my things here, right?" And the wife's like, "Maybe it's because you've expanded," and he gets all grumpy, and the kids doesn't want to go. He's feeling sick, and wife wants off planet, and the officer's like, "Well, that off-worlder." The commander's like, "That off-worlder who's here? He's the guy who can make it happen. So shape up, shut up, make it through tonight. We can be out of here if you be on your best." Gorn greets the local tribesmen in their own language. This is a very important moment. It's a sign of respect. And the leader replies back with this comment about, well, hopefully the eye will be open long enough for any good inside you to be seen. And I was wondering if this was an insult, but I think it's just their way of celebrating the event. May the eye be open to expose the good within all of us. It's very interesting. Um, we see another moment where Gorn is standing here seething against the Imperial mockery of the planet as they're going over the local tradition of a goat hide in exchange for the rights to use the land, I think is what it said. And they're going to give the goat hide to um, the tribesmen, and both the Imperial officers are like, ew, it stinks so bad. Oh my god, these freaking local backwoods primitives. Sequences are happening. We get lots of sequence changes, which is great for tension building and ramping up the pace, letting us know that something important is coming because you do lots of these building up and then you slow it down to go through the sequence. Um, the other, Cinta and Vel are climbing up this dam, um, placing their comms device that's going to block things. That's the old Imperial device, right? And it's a comm station on the dam. And as they're ramping up, Belle starts to get nerves. She's not answering the comms. Finally, she says, "Yes, we're on." And then there's like this James Bond moment. Well, no, that's later. James Bond moment's later. Anyway, we'll get to that. I'm getting ahead of myself in the notes. There's a moment here where the tribesman is meeting the commander, and he asks Gorn to translate. Our ghosts have strong hands and long memories, meaning our people remember what you've done to us here. And the garrison commander doesn't speak their language, and Gorn says, "Oh yeah, he just said, may the eye find good in all of us." And the tribesman's like, "That's not what I said," but he doesn't correct Gorn. So I think he suspects something, but who knows? I don't think they're going to be coming back to this planet anytime soon, so I think it's just in the fleeting scope of things. It's not really that important of a moment. Then we're back to the bridge. We're off the bridge, Bond style, like from GoldenEye, and they jump off the bridge, and yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. Cassian's team is escorting the commander back to base. And there's this brilliant Mexican standoff moment as they get inside the bunker, and Cassian and the three others that are with them take the commander and the off-world officer by surprise, along with the wife and kids. Blasters out, everything else. Let the kid go, and the off-world officer pulls a pistol, and he's like, "Let the kid go. Nobody has to." And somebody says, I don't remember who said it because in the heat of my note taking, I didn't write this down. Someone says no one has to die. I think it's Cassian actually says that right as Vel and Cinta drop down, and Cinta just blasts the off-worlder in the head with a blaster shot, showing that they mean business, and it's good people doing bad shit. And one path, the speech that Vel gives here, as she's convincing the commander to do what she wants, she's like, "We have one path, one choice. We win or we all die." And the wife's begging him, "Please just do what they say." Um, yeah, so comms go down, and this is when I started to suspect that my previous suspicion was going to come true, and it is, because as the comms go down, the guy on the bridge starts being suspicious about everything. He's like, "Is it due to the event? Excuse me. Is it due to the event? Not sure." Meanwhile, they're storming the barracks, and here's the ship. Here's the payroll, and this brilliant moment where Skeen's like, "You're gonna help us load this thing as fast as possible. Anyone here who doesn't want to hustle for the next 10 minutes, raise your hands." As he's got a blaster rifle pointed at everybody. Of course, no one raises their hand, but I had to laugh because of that line. Anyone who doesn't want to hustle for the next 10 minutes, raise your hand right now as a blaster rifle's pointed in their face. It's like that's a motivating speech. If you haven't seen one before, there's really really brilliant stuff here. They're powering up the ship. Tribesmen are doing their event. We're getting lots of scene sequences here. And then as they're radioing each other on the comms, the chatter starts to cut through into static because it's an Imperial device. And the guy on the bridge hears this breaking up, and he goes and dials in, and he hears what's going on. And now we have the first snag of the episode because obviously he knows exactly what's going on. They're robbing the vault. So at this point, my adrenaline was peaking during this show. Lights are shutting off on the dam. Gorn's ready with a flashlight, and here comes the squad leader from the dam, running to the vault with his buddies. The tribesman puts the fire out. The event is in full force right now, and what amazing visual effects for this part of the episode because the sky is just filled with lights. Um, Gorn is in the hold now, and Vel's like, we got 2 more minutes, and Gorn's like, screw it, forget the rest of the money, just load up. We need to be locking up and getting out of here. And the commander turns, realizing that Gorn has betrayed him. How could you? And he literally says, this is a brilliant, some of the best writing I've seen in the episode so far. He says, you'll hang for this. And Gorn literally looks at him and says, 7 years serving you, I deserve worse than that. And I was like, oh snap, like this guy has seen bad shit go down under the Empire, and that's what's turned him. And it's just now we're out to the Elkenzi Air Command. The event again, full swing, looks amazing. We see a TIE pilot hopping in. Now I'm wondering, why are they? Is this just a routine TIE squadron going out? I can't remember from one of the previous episodes if this was just one of the um, scheduled runs that they're doing or not. It doesn't really matter at this point, but they're launching some ties. Right as this is happening, the officer shows up with his squad. Woo. That's what 4 a.m. wake ups do to you, ladies and gentlemen. Shows up with his squad down below, wants to know what's going on. Gordon tries to play it off as a classified mission, but the commander keels over in the middle of it. And now we have a firefight on our hands. And there's a bunch of stuff that happens here. Basically, the most important thing in the firefight is that Terramin, who was the big black ex-stormtrooper that was helping them, gets shot during the firefight, and they end up launching the ship without him. We knew someone wouldn't make it. The engine flares are just epic. I mean, every time I see this, although going back to when the Millennium Falcon did it back in like Empire Strikes Back, engine flares are going to get me every time. Blasting bodies back from the tube chamber, and in the rush of this, a crate slips free and skids back and crushes Nemec. We know he's not going to make it. You know, it's just spoiler alert. But he gets crushed. Needs a flight path, but the kid's the one who's got the navigation pack. There's this sequence. TIE fighters are coming. Give me the numbers. Give me the numbers. I'm flying blind. And he's like climbing into the cluster storm into the sky. The TIEs see the ship. They start firing. The kid's trying to program the device through the pain and the meds. Climb now, climb now. And Cassian's screaming, it's suicide. Have you seen what's going on outside? And so there's this sequence where, they're going through the storm like this and getting pelted with the crystals, blows up some of the TIE fighters. Finally, there's clear space, and we're out. And I didn't realize that Cinta got left behind. I don't know if this is going to be important later on, but she stayed back on the planet. The locals are in awe of the event. There's this whole sequence of the kid's injured. We have a doctor built into the contingency. Should we go or should we not? Cassian says, absolutely, we're going to go get the doctor. And then we're planet side with the doctor. And as they're waiting for the doctor to operate, Skeen and Cassian are outside, and Skeen starts to talk. And he basically is offering Cassian half of the money. He's like, let's just go. Let's ditch them. Cassian asks, was your brother's story even real? And he's like, no, it wasn't real. He's like, we were both born in the hole, and we know what it's all about, climbing over bodies until we get out. And he continues to talk, and he's trying to convince Cassian, and Cassian pulls his blaster and just shoots him dead point blank. God damn! God damn! Han shot first? No, Cassian shot first. This was a character-defining moment here. God damn! I was really excited to see this because this just cements the type of character that Cassian Andor is. Like, he will not suffer. A good guy doing bad shit. Good guy at his core, but we are establishing that this guy will do whatever it takes, and he will not tolerate like that type of behavior, like betrayals and treason and cutthroat behavior. Like, he has morals. Like, he's a good guy doing bad shit. But I was just, kid didn't make it, right? Cassian comes into the doc's office with his pistol drawn, and Vil's freaking out. Where's Skeen? He tells her Skeen was going to betray you. She doesn't believe it. And he's like, you need to think about this long and hard if you don't believe it. He says, here's my Kyber crystal. Take this and give it back to the guy who hired us. Doc, I'm giving you 30,000 for your ship out back. I'm leaving. I'm getting what I'm owed. I'm taking my cut and I'm out of here. I don't want any more part of this. I'm leaving you the creds. I'm leaving you all the things that you need for your little whatever it is, Vel. Good luck. Tell Luthen thanks. I'm out. Now we flash forward. Oh, actually, before we flash forward, and then as this is going down, Belle starts to realize that maybe he is telling the truth, and she says, Nemec wanted you to have his manifesto. I suspect that even though Cassian is leaving right now, I suspect the death of Nemec, he's going to be reading this manifesto later on. This is my prediction. He's going to be reading this manifesto, tortured about the death of this kid, and the manifesto is going to convince him that he needs to actually fight the Empire and needs to be more than just a mercenary. And that's what's going to bring him back to Luthen. I suspect. That's my prediction. We'll see if it holds true or not. Meanwhile, we have an all-call meeting at the Imperial Headquarters where Dedra's located, and the main boss is like, no one's going home. Tell your families I want every contingency plan on the table by midnight. At the same time, we see Mon Mothma giving a speech in the Senate, a speech about basic rights for some planet of aliens, but the people are walking out. She realizes there's something going on, checks the news bulletin. It's the heist. Luthen's in his office selling goods, and somebody mentions something about the heist that went down, and he's like, well, let me go back in the check and see if I have one of these devices for you, one of these artifacts. And he goes back in his office and he starts laughing, breathless, smiling. They did it. Yeah. And he raises his hand and cheers, and that's the fade to black moment. So again, I felt this is definitely the best episode of season 1 so far. It was everything I wanted it to be, and that moment where Cassian is just like, man, 10 out of 10 from me. 10 out of 10. I love this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you want to support the channel, which I would love it if you did, it keeps me going full time like all of these people. It's super simple. On videos like these that are uploaded, you can just drop a super thanks down below. Picking them out. $2, $5, $50, whatever you can contribute. If you're on a live stream or a premiere, you could do super chats and stickers. It's another way. It's the same thing. You just go into the chat box. There's a dollar sign. You can pick what you want. There's also 3 tiers of membership here on YouTube, and memberships make up a good portion of our transaction revenue. So pick an amount down there. It's called the Adventurers Guild. We have guild members, guild captains, and guild champions. Go from there. There's also a Patreon page. You can check that out as well. It's the game dev stuff and the fantasy book series that I'm working on with my wife and my brother. Check it out. Until next time, everybody, stay tuned, stay safe, happy viewing, and hopefully you'll tune into the other stuff that I review here on my YouTube channel. Until next week.